I divorced my wife after 10 years when I found her secret test result in her bag after she returned from a wedding. She completely shattered our family, but I made her confess everything in front of both our parents before ending the marriage for good. My whole life turned upside down in the blink of an eye. I split from my wife of a decade after finding an STD test in her purse. When people say one moment can change everything, that's exactly what happened to me. A tiny slip of paper hidden in her bag became the bombshell that blew my world apart. I'm Thomas, 37 man, and I met my wife in college. We'll call her Leela, 37F. We were together for 16 years in total, 6 years dating, 10 years married. Leela was my classmate, my soulmate. I genuinely thought we'd make it until the end. A month back, Leela got invited to her school friend's wedding, a big, extravagant affair in Las Vegas that lasted for an entire week. I was also invited, but work couldn't wait, so I stayed behind. When Leela came home after the wedding, she was strangely distant. I asked what was going on, but she just said she was wiped out from the celebrations. That made sense, so I gave her some time, hoping it was just post-event tiredness. But things only got weirder after that. Leela started shutting me out. Moody, snappy, avoiding conversation. It was like she was mad at me for things that hadn't even happened. And our sex life? That was totally gone. For almost a month, she turned down every advance, claiming she just wasn't in the mood. I chalked it up to fatigue, until I found something in her bag that made my heart sink. There, wedged in a fold of her wallet, was a hospital bill, a record of an STD test Leela had taken the day after returning from Vegas. To say it freaked me out is an understatement. Why get tested, and why hide it from me? The implications were obvious, but still, the trust I'd always had for her was warring with this cold reality. I had to know more before I confronted her. So I checked in on the STD test process online and found stories of people in similar situations. The tests were almost always connected with cheating. With that grim commonality weighing on me, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone when she wasn't around. There was nothing suspicious in her chats, call logs, or social media. No evidence of an affair, no coded conversations, nothing. This left me teetering on the edge of paranoia. Was I overblowing it, or was I just being careful? I considered reaching out to the friends who went with her to Vegas, but they were all from her school days. I didn't know them well enough to snoop without raising red flags. Through our many years together, Leela had never given me any reason to doubt her. We'd always been straightforward and open about everything. Edit to add, one thing I left out. According to the bill, she scheduled the STD test the day after her flight back, but the actual sample was collected just the previous day. Report delivery was set for a week after. Her oddness started as soon as she got home from Vegas, and I noticed that yesterday, when she got back from the hospital, she looked tense and dead tired. She carefully hid her bag in the wardrobe instead of dropping it somewhere like usual. I pretended not to notice, quietly clocking every move she made. Once she went to shower, I looked in her purse and found the STD bill. Update 1. Hey everyone, some commented that I hadn't given enough background about us. Fair enough. Here's more. Leela and I both graduated in computer science. We work as software engineers, though at different IT firms. We have a little boy. He just turned 6. Our home and finances was stable. And until this, we'd been happy. I truly thought we were solid, but now it feels like everything is slipping away. Ever since I found the STD test bill, I haven't been able to sleep. The stories I've read and the comments people left make it sound plain as day. Leela must have cheated. I initially planned to wait for her results before confronting her, but I started to choke on the secret. My anxiety was showing. Leela noticed me acting weird, questioning whether I was mad about her recent coldness. I just lied and pretended everything was fine. The night after making my post, we sat for dinner. Lila asked again if I was okay. I tried to fake it, but I burst out, "How was your STD test?" She was stunned, totally pale. She asked how I found out, but I just told her it didn't matter. She said those famous words, "I can explain." I stared and told her, "So then, explain." She started to sob. My heart dropped. The tears told me everything. For 16 years, I'd always comforted her through every hardship, held her through every pain. But this time, I felt like a stranger. She clung to my arms, weeping hard, but I couldn't bring myself to hug her. Eventually, she confessed. It happened at her friend's bachelorette party. The first 2 days of the Vegas wedding were a wild girls' trip. Event planners brought in strippers, male escorts, everything. Lila claimed the other women dived right in, but at first she said no, even as friends pressured her. According to her, her friend urged her to live a little, since she hadn't been with anyone but me for all these years. Lila says she finally gave in to an intimate massage, hoping that didn't count as cheating and might get her friends off her back. But the masseur was really an escort. During the massage, he started undressing her, telling her it was necessary. Lila said she lost control and went along. After it was over, her friends cheered, insisting she try even more, assuring her everything would stay secret. She told me that, having already crossed the line, she just went with it and explored her fantasy. Hearing her admit all this, I just went numb. All those years, all that love, and now this. She begged me to say something. I finally just told her I was filing for divorce. She cried, tried to argue that our son deserved better, but I was livid. I screamed at her that if she'd cared about our family, she wouldn't have done it in the first place. I grabbed my keys and walked out. I stayed the night with my friend Eric, 36M. He'd recently divorced himself, so he understood. I drank myself into oblivion and called in sick the next morning. While Eric was at work, I researched divorce lawyers and contacted an old classmate, Damien, 35M, who happened to be a lawyer. He squeezed me in that evening for a drink. I told him my terms. He said he'd get the process started. I made it clear. I loved Lila, but I could never respect her after this betrayal. The next afternoon, I went home to pack when Lila was supposed to be at the office. But she was there, looking absolutely broken. She clung to me, sobbing and apologizing, but I stood as rigid as stone. She said my silence was killing her, asked about our son. He was with my parents for a break. I just shut myself in our bedroom, packed essentials while she was distracted, and slipped away to a hotel. I visited my parents to see my son, but otherwise worked remotely for the week, staying in the hotel. Lila bombarded me with calls, voicemails, showed up at my work, even stalked places I might go. Our mutual friend William, 38M, eventually called, worried, and told me Lila was frantically searching for me. She'd told all her friends I stormed out after a big fight, but hadn't explained why. I assured him I was fine, just needed space. Divorce papers were in the works. I told myself I'd update everyone once the process was done. Update 2. It's taken me a little time to come back to this, but I wanted the dust to settle first. This is going to be my last update about everything that's happened. 10 days after D-Day, my lawyer got me the papers. On Saturday morning, I went back to our house. Everything was as grim as I'd left it. Lila was a shell on the couch, and my son was playing in the living room. He hugged me tight, not having seen me all week. Lila barely acknowledged me. After a few minutes with my boy, I sat down silently, as Lila pretended to be icy and tough, asking what I wanted. I didn't answer at first. She eventually said, "Look, I know I messed up. I did something terrible, and I feel guilty. I could have hidden it all. You'd never have known if I skipped the test and didn't say anything. But instead, I took the test and avoided sex to keep you safe. I confessed when I could have lied. Can't we try to fix this?" I considered it, then said yes if she owned up to her affair in front of both our families. She went stiff, realizing I was serious, but eventually agreed. She invited our parents over for the evening. That afternoon, we ate lunch together, just the three of us. Our son clung to us, and I knew it would probably be the last time we'd ever all sit as a family. I can guess people will call me egotistical for giving up over a single mistake, but I know that my son deserves parents who are happy, even if they're apart, rather than two people simmering with resentment under the same roof. After lunch, Lila took our son for a nap, then came back to our bedroom. She tried to initiate intimacy, reaching out to touch me and asking if her STD results were clear. She said she was clean, and for one last time, I gave in, knowing it would be the last. It was the most intense intimacy we'd had in years, but afterward, I felt a deep sense of sadness, and I regretted it too, knowing it might give her hope for reconciliation. We both dozed until our son woke us. For a brief moment, playing on the bed together, I questioned my resolve. Did I want to give up? Should I stay? But I made myself remember her betrayal. I got up to prepare for our parents' arrival. Later, when everyone had gathered, Lila pulled me aside once more to ask if I really wanted her to confess. I said yes, in front of my parents, Philip, 61 man, and Maria, 59F, and hers, Oscar, 62 man, and Grace, 60 feminine. Leela revealed everything, that she cheated on me in Vegas. My parents almost thought it was a joke, but I clarified it was very real. She admitted to doing an STD test for my safety, and I chimed in that everything became clear after I found the bill in her purse. Our families were devastated, her parents furious, mine just numb with shock. I then told everyone that I'd already filed for divorce, outlined the terms. Leela and our son would keep the house, we'd share joint custody, and I'd pay my share for our boy. After reading it out, I handed her the documents to sign. Leela gave me a look of utter defeat and signed immediately. Her parents stormed out. Mine left a little later, asking if I wanted to stay with them. Leela locked herself in my son's room, taking him with her. That night, I left for good. She didn't call or message me after that. About a month and a half later, we were in front of a judge. The divorce went through with no contest from either side. We left in silence. Now, a week after all is settled, I'm moving into my own place, focusing on my new routines. Leela and I will see each other when it comes to our son, but it will be strictly business. I still feel hollow and know I hurt her too. Maybe in the end, we both got exactly what we deserved. This story ends right here. This story is a clear illustration of how one hidden act and a single discovery can fracture even the most stable-seeming relationship, regardless of years invested. The consequences here go beyond the two adults involved. They touch a child as well and reshape two entire families. What do you think? Would you have handled Leela's confession any differently, or was ending it the only option? Let me know what you think below.